Well, in Australia, we are blessed with the amount of species that we can target. Unfortunately, however, not all of these fish are welcome, and at times pose a serious risk to the survival of some of our native fish. As stewards of our waterway, it's our responsibility to identify these issues and know what to do if you catch one of these fish when you're out on the water. Let's go. First on the list is the European carp, a fish introduced over 100 years ago that has a detrimental impact on both water quality and food supply for some of our native freshwater fish. Carp, using this downturned mouth, dig and suck up the dirt in our rivers and creeks and sift through the mud in search of insects. This disturbs the native fish eggs, which are laid upon the riverbed, creates murky conditions inhabitable for many of our native species, and erodes the structure of the riverbanks, eventually leading to collapse. The next on the list is the mighty redfin perch, which inhabits the cooler water of the Murray-Darling Basin. Now, whilst they look spectacular, with orange, red and green fins, don't be fooled, because they cause some serious issues for some of our freshwater fish. Redfin are capable of rapidly populating new waterways, which means these aggressive predators outcompete some of our native fish for food and shelter. If you happen to catch a redfin perch or European or koi carp when you're out fishing, be sure not to return it to the water. The final species on the list is the tilapia. Once troubling the waters of Queensland, the tilapia has recently spilled over into the New South Wales border and is now a real threat of spreading throughout New South Wales. Originally introduced as an aquarium fish, the tilapia is known for its territorial and aggressive behaviour, which often sees it outstrengthen smaller native fish when claiming habitat. The male tilapia builds circular, crater-like nests, which not only damage surrounding vegetation, but create cloudy and opaque matter in our rivers and streams. Tilapia fiercely guard these nets, which sees these territorial critters fight off many of our native fish that try to utilise this area for habitat. One of the big issues with tilapia is that they are mouth brooders and highly efficient at it. This means they hold eggs and larvae in their mouths, which can ensure the survival of up to 1,000 eggs every 4 to 5 weeks. Well, the main issue with tilapia is that the traditional methods of disposing of these fish, like dispatching them up on the bank, doesn't combat the issue they pose. Eggs remain alive in the mouth of a tilapia for days, which means things like wind, rain and other predators can transport their eggs, even on a deceased carcass, into new waterways. When dispatching of the tilapia, simply wrap the fish in newspaper and dispose of it in any nearby landfill bin. Once breeding populations of tilapia have been established in New South Wales, the eradication of this species is next to impossible. If you see a tilapia or happen to catch one, always report the sighting to DPI Biosecurity and be sure to check, clean and dry your boat or kayak before entering into a new waterway. As stewards of our waterways, it's never been more important to identify those issues which are threatening our native species. We can educate fellow fishers to identify the problem and make sure we're doing our part when we're out on the water. Now, I don't know about you, but I love our native species and I want to make sure I'm targeting them well into the future.